It is not fair for him to be in that weight class. They need to calibrate them scales. We don't know how he makes those that weight. All stuff. There is some kind of trickery going on in boxing that nobody wants to talk about.
Who he had beaten once before in a controversial fight where Tszyu was bleeding very badly, and where before he fought him in a rematch, Tszyu had been knocked out. So he beats Tszyu, and then he beats, Thurman, who's been very inactive, moved up in weight, and was a huge underdog for those reasons.
Do you want to be undisputed, or what's your ultimate goal in the ring?
There was an idea of becoming undisputed at one time, but as of right now, it's so much politics. Look with the WB. I was already unified champion, but all these things that don't line up with us, you can't. It's a business as well. So if you're not going to work with me, I can't really work with you either. So
boxing insiders have accused Sebastian Fundora of using unfair tactics in his fight against Keith Thurman. Raleigh Romero argues that Fundora does not belong in that weight class, alleging hidden tricks in boxing that few are willing to talk about, igniting a heated debate across the sport.
You think about the sustained beatings that he passes out. When he fights, it's the way he gets on top of people and just destroys them.
Man, he over there trying to chop everybody's head off. I'm telling you like this, man. I sit there, man. I just look. I'm like, you gotta go over there and just boom, right on the top like that, right? Hope for the best,
A fan on X expressed strong criticism, writing, "Fundora is an unfair cheat code. If everyone at 154 is avoiding him, I wouldn't blame them. He shouldn't be allowed to fight at this weight with that height," sparking a heated boxing debate. Keith Thurman's face was badly injured, leading some to question whether standard gloves and punching power alone could have caused such damage, with a few even suggesting possible glove tampering. Despite his injuries, Thurman disagreed with the referee's decision to stop the fight.
He has that conditioning, he's a volume puncher, and I think it's just that little bit of a press that he was putting on that, let that referee feel, the way that he felt to jump in. But, he was pressing, he was opening up, he was starting to throw wide. And that's where, the veteran has an opportunity to shine. I'm telling you, man, the fans were loving it. The action was getting real. There was no need to just stop it right then and right there, But, once again, I'm not that beat up. I can fight more, and we'll see what happens, man. But it was a good fight. I wanted a great fight, and I think if it went just a few more minutes, something great would happen. Or maybe I would have got dropped, and then, at the end of the day, I can accept.
Fundora is reportedly avoiding a push for undisputed status, believing that other sanctioning bodies may not protect him the way the WBC does. Because of this, he is said to remain committed to the WBC, prioritizing its support over pursuing broader championship goals.
I'm comfy with the WBC. I still think I'm recognized as the best. I think I'm the best. So, let's just make these...
A fan on X commented, "Yeah, for real. Fur is a hater. He thinks sounding all polite and talking slow means people can't see this fraud BS, fueling further criticism within boxing circles." Meanwhile, Fundora insists his success comes from relentless preparation, stating that he has been training hard since August, which he believes allowed him to deliver such a dominant performance against Thurman in the ring.
Happy with my performance, of course. I think it was a great performance. Just a lot of training in this camp. We've been training for him since August of last year. So, it was unfortunate that we couldn't fight in October, but we stay training, we stay getting ready for this former Hall of Famer and show tonight. I take my hat off to Keith. Of course, he's a great former champion. Like I said, a future Hall of Famer for sure. But no, we trained very hard for this fight, and we made sure that we crossed our T's and dotted our I's, so that performance from him wouldn't be nothing crazy for us to handle. I'm very comfortable with the WBC. I've been saying this over and over again. I'll fight these guys. I'll unify with these guys, but I'll probably drop the belt right after.
Bernie the boxer criticized Fundora's choice, arguing that he should have faced a different opponent. With many options available, Bernie believes Fundora selected Keith Thurman knowing the matchup heavily favored him, making the difference in size and style far too overwhelming.
Keith Thurman, yes, bludgeoned, battered, bruised, didn't knock him down, but did everything else. Man, talk to us about the matchup.
Keith Thurman had a hill to climb. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing with Fundora. And man, that layoff didn't help him. Like I was just telling my boy Ramon, I was thinking he should have fought old boy first. Should have fought Charlo first. I would like to see that first. Maybe scrap the whole thing. You know, they tried to make this thing twice and it didn't go. So I think they Fundora shouldn't have been held up. He should have been put with somebody else. Even though I think he hurt himself the second time. So the first time Keith Thurman hurt himself, then the second time, boom, and then old boy hurt himself. But it was a good fight, man. Keith Thurman, he showed his heart, he showed his guts. You know what I'm saying? He landed some shots in between, and you know, but they didn't face Fundora.
The Fundora versus Keith Thurman cheating allegations are not new. Teddy Atlas reminded fans of Fundora's fight with Tim Tszyu, where Tszyu suffered a severe head injury and impaired vision. At the time as well, some questioned Fundora's gloves or tactics.
Fundora. But before we go too crazy, remember the guys that he's beaten recently. He beat Costas, he beat, what's his name, Zoo. He beat Zoo, who he had beaten once before in a controversial fight where Zoo was bleeding very badly. And before he fought him in a rematch, Zoo had been knocked out. So he beats Zoo, and then he beats, you know, Thurman, who's been very inactive, moved up in weight, and was a huge underdog for those reasons. So let him beat somebody maybe a little bit of a higher level of thought before you go too crazy.
Jose Benavidez Sr. weighed in on Fundora's TKO win over Thurman, pointing to Fundora's youth and towering height advantage. He argued that Thurman's inactivity and current condition made it a poor matchup, emphasizing the clear imbalance between the two fighters.
To be honest, I already kind of knew that, you know, Fundora super young right now, super tall, and Keith Thurman, you know, at the end of the day, you know, he was a great fighter, he was a good fighter, but he had a lot of tough fights. But you know, I thought Keith was going to give him a little bit of trouble, you know, and take him to deep waters and test him a little bit. But you know, when Fundora threw the right hand the first time, he kind of got him, and you know, that's when like, oh man, you know, Fundora, I think it's too much for him. Fundora looked really good. He used his distance and body shots and straight punches and everything. I think, in my opinion, he looked really good. And Keith Thurman, you know, he tried. And it was a great stoppage, in my opinion. You know, it's good. You know, when they stopped the fight and I saw his face, I was like, damn, you know, it was a good stop.
A boxing fan posted on X, Ruthless Fura, mismatched before and proved to be even worse during the fight. A sharp critique echoing growing frustration over the bout's perceived imbalance. Chris Algieri also broke down Sebastian Fundora's TKO win over Keith Thurman with detailed analysis. He highlighted Fundora's unusual ability to land short uppercuts from long range, calling him a highly dangerous puzzle that Thurman couldn't solve. Algieri pointed to Thurman's decline, noting his inactivity, slower footwork, and difficulty handling Fundora's 80-inch reach. He recalled Fundora's early career when he appeared awkward and uncoordinated, but emphasized how he has since developed into a confident fighter who now uses his jab effectively, throwing around 44 per round in the bout. Algieri added that Fundora barely needed to change tactics, staying behind his jab and landing precise power shots until the fight was stopped.
You know, he throws a rear uppercut from long range. He throws a lead uppercut from mid range. So he's a wildly dangerous puzzle to figure out. And Keith had no answer. And I guess in hindsight, that's probably not that surprising. Keith was not a 54-pounder. But yeah, it was underwhelming, I should say.
I expected a little more from Keith. Talks the big game. Had that illustrious run at 147, but ultimately, like I said, Father Time over one time. Father Time gets everybody. He just looks slow. The legs weren't there, and also you're fighting a guy like you said with the 80-inch reach, and also knows how to use it now. That's what we're seeing from Fundora. Is first couple of fights of his career when he was fighting on.
While Algieri acknowledged Fundora's growth, he also argued that Thurman looked atrocious and didn't truly engage in the fight, making the matchup underwhelming. He suggested that Fundora's performance, though dominant, didn't reveal much given Thurman's decline from his prime. Algieri concluded that Fundora, now 28, is entering his prime and must face elite-level opponents at 154 pounds, naming fighters such as Virgil Ortiz Jr. or Jaron Boots Ennis as true tests. In his view, Fundora has developed from a tall, awkward prospect into a dangerous contender, but the boxing world still needs to see him against top-tier competition to properly measure his greatness.
Zoo fight was impressive. The second Zoo fight is where I think now Fundora can settle in now, and this is like what he's going to be. He's going to be a guy that pumps his jab. He's going to be a guy that throws power shots and lands power shots. His jab was really impressive. He threw 44 jabs per round in this fight. We're talking about a guy that never used to throw the jab. We always wondered, why does he fight on the inside when he has a bajillion-inch reach advantage over his opponents? But he's now settling in, and he started with the jab, and then he didn't even get out of first gear. Like, did you see? I didn't see Fundora exert any extra energy in this fight. He stuck behind his jab and threw short, concise power shots and just kept finding a home for them until the fight was ultimately stopped. I think Fundora is really coming into his own, but we got to see him now with an elite level.
Winky Wright reflected on Sebastian Fundora's victory over Keith Thurman, noting how Fundora applied relentless pressure throughout the fight. He explained that Thurman's constant movement, while intended to create openings, actually drained his energy early. Wright emphasized that Thurman's footwork and attempts to stay elusive ultimately backfired, leaving him fatigued and unable to mount an effective offense. Fundora capitalized on this by maintaining steady aggression, forcing Thurman onto the defensive and limiting his ability to respond. In Wright's view, the combination of Fundora's pressure and Thurman's excessive movement set the tone for the fight, leading to Thurman's early exhaustion.
It's part of the game. Fundora's a tough person to fight, tall, rangy, tough, and he threw a lot of punches. And Keith had a little long layoff, and no excuse, man. He's just a tough fighter. He's just tough to beat, and then Keith had to do what he had to do. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think was there any adjustments you feel that were lacking in there?
Yeah, it was. I think he was doing too much movement. That's what got him kind of tired with his legs, and then he couldn't do the things that he wanted to do. But Fundora was just trying to put the pressure on him. And like I said, it's been a while for Keith. Fighting and then fighting somebody at that size. This is difficult. People can say what they want. You could do this, you could do that, but you never fight nobody 6'6", 80-inch reach,
Keith Thurman spent years chasing big fights, particularly a showdown with Tim Tszyu. However, injuries derailed those plans. He even traveled to Australia to fight on a no-limit card, hoping to secure that opportunity, but it never materialized. Instead, Thurman eventually found himself matched against Sebastian Fundora, a bout that gave Thurman the chance he had long sought, while also providing Fundora with the big-name opponent he desired. From the opening rounds, Thurman struggled to adapt to Fundora's extraordinary reach and height, challenges nearly impossible to replicate in sparring. Fundora pressed forward and dictated the pace, while Thurman tried different approaches but failed to land anything significant. In round 2, Fundora landed a perfectly timed left hand that buckled Thurman's knees, signaling the start of a one-sided dominance.
Coming to Australia to fight on a no-limit card to hopefully do enough to secure that Zoo fight eventually, but that would never materialize, and instead Thurman would end up finding himself fighting Fundora. Thurman was given the opportunity he's been chasing for years, and Fundora was given the big name he's been chasing also. So what ended up going down? Well, in the opening rounds, Thurman was clearly just trying to figure out how to approach Fundora. The reach, the height, it's something almost impossible to replicate in sparring. So the first couple rounds was really Fundora pushing the pace, whilst Thurman was trying different things just to see if he could even land anything. And in round 2, Fundora threw probably the best shot of the fight, a well-timed left hand which buckled Thurman's knees. But Thurman would see out the round, but from this point on, Fundora was almost in complete control. Thurman really had no answer.
By round 5, the fight had become completely one-sided, with Thurman absorbing punishment and offering little in return. His badly damaged face told the story, and the referee ultimately stepped in to stop the contest, prioritizing safety as Thurman was taking too much punishment without meaningful resistance. This victory cemented Fundora as a formidable force at 154 pounds. Unlike earlier in his career, he now fully uses his physical advantages, controlling distance and applying relentless pressure. Thurman, meanwhile, remains a shadow of his prime, with inactivity and missed opportunities leaving fans both sympathetic and frustrated at what could have been.
Round 5, it was just one-way traffic from here on out. There was almost nothing coming back from Thurman, and his face showed the story of the fight. And in the next round, this pressure kept going. Fundora kept laying it on, pushing Thurman onto the back foot, which caused the referee to step in to stop the fight. He saw too much. Although Thurman was still moving, he wasn't really throwing anything back, and he was copping too much damage. It was common sense why the ref stepped in to stop it. But with this win, Fundora has cemented himself as one of the toughest champs at 154. The Fundora we saw against Mendoza is dead. He now really knows how to use his advantages beautifully. He didn't give Thurman space to breathe. He controlled that distance, laid it on him, and barely got hit.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.